Hello everybody, welcome back to a Hive video. I haven't said that in such a long time. But anyways, in today's video I want to look at all 14 games, SKYWARS kits separated from SKYWARS, and rank them from worst to best. It's been a while since I've done this, and the last time I did do this there was only 8 games, so now that there's 14, this video will probably be longer. Also, there's a YouTuber here, and maybe I'll go check him out. I've never seen him before. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Here we go. I put Ground Wars at the bottom of this list, of which everybody would probably agree with, but I'll explain the reasons why anyway. Firstly, its pacing is absolutely horrible. Its build phase serves as nothing more than an interruption to the flow of this game and just ruins it altogether. This game's at its peak when you're making good shots and you're getting kills very frequently, and then the build phase comes in and cuts you off. Just stops you abruptly and you can't do anything about it. So the build phase in itself, it just kills the flow of this game, which is already a major drawback because it happens so often. Up close fights are absolutely horrid because of egg spam, and it's even worse because that's really all you can do. And while the power-ups being added to this game, since it was an LTM originally, is a nice touch, it isn't enough to compensate for the problems in this game. It's also worth noting that the maps do look pretty cool, and I do appreciate their variety, but it's just overshadowed by all the issues. And so, that is why I'm putting Ground Wars at the bottom. Bit of a hot pick, but I'm putting survival games as the second worst game on the Hive. Now, before you all pull out your guns or whatever, don't you worry, I don't hate this game, I don't even dislike it. I tolerate it. In fact, Ground Wars is the only game I dislike on the Hive. The reason why I put survival games here is just because its simplicity doesn't really appeal to me as much as it might to others. I like games that are either unique or a little bit more in-depth, and this is 0 for 2 on that scale. It's a very simple concept that's been around since the beginning of time. The only true complaint I have is that it lacks map variety. We do need to put more maps into this game. I understand not a lot of people play it and it's nowhere near the most popular game on the Hive, but either way, a few extra maps couldn't hurt and it would change up the experience a bit and maybe benefit the numbers of this game a little bit too. However, until then, I'll keep survival games here. As I said, I respect it and I understand why some people might like it, but it's just not really my thing. Last time I made a Hive ranking video, I put Murder Mystery in 2nd place. So what happened that put it from 2nd out of 8th to 12th out of 14th? It's just that I've lost my interest in it, and I find the game to be very situational depending on what you are and depending on what map you play on. 5% of the time you're the murderer, which is super fun, especially if all you do is slaughter people the moment you spawn in. That is a whole load of fun right there. Sheriff isn't quite as fun, but it's still rewarding enough that if you kill the murderer, you feel a little bit of satisfaction. Then there's Innocence. And when you're innocent, you're not playing Murder Mystery, you're playing Mario. You're collecting coins, you're smashing bricks. Okay, you're not smashing bricks. But the point is, it's a collect-a-thon if you're an innocent, it's a hunt down if you're a sheriff, and it's a slaughterhouse if you're a murderer. I'm sure that sounds a little bit more appealing than playing Banjo-Kazooie with coins or whatever as innocents, but the only problem with that is you're sheriff and murderer like less than 10% of the time, so yeah. For some positives though, Murder Mystery has some really cool maps. Pigment and Chroma are absolutely phenomenal. I love the item shop, I love the cubes, those touches are so much fun to utilize. I just wish every other map had that same sort of treatment. And don't tell me that you can buy stuff with coins. It doesn't give me armor, it doesn't give me anything cool other than potion effects. That's old though. I want them to expand on that formula, and they're getting there, but they just need to add it to more things overall. Once they do that, I'm sure I'll be able to move this game up a few spaces. But, like survival games, if they don't want to change it, then I'm gonna keep it here. And that's okay, it's not a bad game, it's just too situational for me to enjoy consistently. Hide and Seek will kick off the games that I begin to genuinely enjoy. Now, the reason why Hide and Seek is at the bottom of this category is because it falls into the same problem as Murder Mystery, where my enjoyment is situational. Luckily, it's handled a lot better here. Being a hider is kind of boring. Let's not lie to ourselves here. Sitting in the same spot for nearly 5 minutes, just taunting every minute or so, whichever taunt you're using, isn't the most appealing. However, the XP distribution in this game makes up for it at least a little bit, so that's a pretty big plus right there. Now, being a Seeker on the other hand, for some reason, Seeker's kind of poor on the XP, only giving about half of what you would get as a Hider, but it is a lot of fun in comparison. Being a Hider might be a little bit boring, but you can get some fun out of it if you are smart and you utilize some hard to reach places using other Hiders. Sometimes my friends and I like to bounce off of each other, so they can use my block as a boost, they can get to harder to access places, and yeah, it's a fun game to be smart in, but if you're just playing solely for XP and you're trying to do it as fast as possible, you're gonna get the XP you're looking for, but you're not gonna have the most fun. I decided to put Just Build in my 10th spot on my list. Now, from a conceptual standpoint, Just Build is very sound. The idea of taking some friends alongside with you and competing with them to see who can build the greatest thing in the shortest time limit, that's pretty fun, and it's a great concept, as I said. But there are a couple mild problems, and then there's one big problem. While I do enjoy duos a whole lot when it comes to Just Build, I do feel like the addition of trios and squads would further benefit this game. Seeing what kind of builds teams could conjure up with if 3 or 4 people were present would be absolutely insane, and there would be some phenomenal works of art available for us to see. I would also ask that one day, maybe we get more than just 5 and 10 minutes. Maybe we also get a 20-minute option. If you had a set of 4 players working on a 20-minute build, that entire grid that we work in would be fully utilized. Most of the time when we play, we can't even so much as utilize half of it. And when we do, it doesn't look great. But if you have the right amount of players to work on the right topic in the right amount of time, you can make some fantastic things in this game. While these mild things would be cool, they're not necessary to make Just Build a good game. It's good how it is, except for one problem. The map problem. That would be the problem where every player decides to give even the best build mez because it will help them win. The frustrating thing about this problem would be the fact that there's no clear way to fix it. You could limit the mez, but then players will just use the second lowest rating instead, that being okay. If you limit everything, then in a lobby where every player would theoretically deserve a meh and an okay, you're out of mez and okays because you use them for everybody else already. Now, on a good day, I still really appreciate this game. I still love competing with other players and seeing if I can win or lose depending on how well I did, and I love the assortment of topics that we have. It's a great concept that needs a lot of refinement to fully shine. Capture the Flag takes number 9 on my list. Now, let me get the good stuff out of the way first. I absolutely love the item shop and the team upgrade shop. That is a phenomenal system, and please don't change that. It is perfect how it is. It is balanced. I love the way coins are accumulated. It was an amazing idea since day one, and I've come to love it ever since. I love the idea of teamwork in games as well. It's great to see people come together in a game like this and see the success that you rightfully earn because you decide to work with everybody else and not just be selfish and push up and do things all by yourself. Everything comes together like a puzzle so long as your team is willing to work alongside you to the same capacity that you are. The map variety is a little bit hit and miss, but I do love the custom assets that are in a lot of these maps. The catapults that send you flying across the map, or the little springs that bounce you onto a higher platform. Those are amazing additions, and I love how they were implemented. Now there is a massive problem with this game. What if you have the opposing team's flag and the opposing team has your flag? You're at one end of the map, they're at the other, their teammates are protecting them, your teammates are protecting you. Now, whoever makes the first choice to move is probably going to get their flag captured. So, you do anything in that situation, I would say 7 out of 10 times, now you're going to lose that point. That is a massive problem, and there's not really a good way to mitigate it. They tried Flag Curse, but even then, it's still not enough. I love everything about this game but that. This could be a 9, maybe 10 out of 10 game. But because of this very reoccurring issue that happens probably 1 every 2, 1 every 3 games, the most I can give it's probably a 7.5 for that reason. And that's why I put it as number 9. Because when things are going right, when people are playing the game, when people are ambitious and confident, then the game's at its best. But when they're not, it falls. Gravity is deserving of number 8, a very middle of the road ranking. It has a big pro, but it also has a big con, depending on which way you look at it. Gravity can be off-putting to newcomers because it's relatively difficult, even the easiest maps are. But that may encourage new players that are starting to get into the game to begin to analyze the maps that this game has to offer, which I will say have great variety to them. They're colorful, expressive, and very unique, and I enjoy that a lot about Gravity. It's a lot of fun just dropping down and just appreciating everything that's around, and even more so in spectator mode once you complete it. Now, as I was saying, Gravity does turn off new players if they are not willing to spend the time to learn, but if you are, this game rewards you with success, enjoyment, and just overall a great time. While part of me believes that this game is worthy of top 5, I do understand that there's a lot of frustration that can go into this game because it's too hard for newer players. So with that, I think middle of the road is perfectly fair, so I will be keeping Gravity at number 8, which is still a respected ranking no matter what. SKYWARS Kits was a disappointing release at the start. It was treated as an entirely new game when it was nothing more than an extension of a game that we already had, but if you got past that, you would realize that you can still have some fun here, and I decided to put it at my number 7 spot. First thing I like about Kits is that it makes you think about what strategy you're going to go into a game with before it even begins. It adds more depth to the gameplay, and that's always a great thing, as well as allowing you to experiment with each kit and finding which one works best for you. Games designed with this idea in mind always end up successful in my books because not everything's going to work out the same way for every player. People will play games differently, and so it's nice to experiment with those kits to see what works and what doesn't for them. A kit like Baller might be great for some of my friends, but myself, somebody who's not so accurate with projectiles, wouldn't utilize Baller correctly, so I use Panic instead. Games with that design are always something I have a deep respect for, and Kits is one of those games, even if 2 of the 5 kits aren't very good. Unfortunately, how I feel about kits on these kind of lists won't really change. Middle of the road is probably as far as I will go with Kits because SKYWARS Kits, while a good game that would be deserving of probably top 5, can't be any higher because it's just SKYWARS 1.25 or whatever. It's a great concept to customize, but it's literally just SKYWARS with a twist. And so, I feel like middle of the road is perfect for it. Something that tried to assume its own identity, but it's not its own identity, it's just something else. It's the sister of SKYWARS, if you will. So with that in mind, it's gonna be middle of the ground permanently in my books, I think. Even if it feels like it's deserving of a top 5. Probably the most underrated game on the Hive, Block Drop is a fun game. I would actually go as far as to consider it faultless. There is just so much to like about this game and nothing to really hold it back. Though it's not a perfect game, I don't believe it's because there's 10 out of 10 elements and it's drawn back by something. It's a fun, cohesive 8 out of 10 experience that many players can enjoy. Casual games are important to have on the Hive because it is the balance to more competitive-based games like SKYWARS, Treasure Wars, and just anything else that's PvP related. So games like Block Drop are always a welcomed assortment of things to do on the Hive. You will notice I will touch upon that casual game topic later on. I might seem like a madman for putting this so high. I understand that it can be oftentimes repetitive with how many people use leaps to score goals, and how fast-paced it is to the point where you can't even stop those kind of people without snowballs, but to the detriment of your own abilities to score a goal. But then they added some new maps, which kind of varied the gameplay a bit. The cubic maps in particular are designed differently than your typical bridge. In this case, they're a little bit longer, and when a leap is used, you're kind of left with 2 choices. You can use a leap closer to the middle of the map, which means that you'll be more vulnerable towards the hole, or you can wait till you're closer to the hole, but risk vulnerability in the center. So there's a little bit more things to think about, and it adds more variety to the bridge, which is exactly what it needed. I probably would have put the bridge somewhere around where Gravity was before this update, but ever since then, I've been really enjoying my time on here, and I love playing it with my friends despite being max level, which is a compliment because usually when I reach max in something, I'm ready to let it go for a while, but if it keeps me coming back for more, I'm happy to stay for that much longer. This is going to kick off the games that I thoroughly enjoy, and Death Run is first on the list, at 4th place overall. Why may that be? Well, it might be the immersive and beautiful scenery that surrounds us, the ultra-fast gameplay that we go through when we play this game, or just the fact that it is so simple and so easy to pick up. It's a myriad of those things. In this game, competition is optional. You don't get more XP as first place than what you would as last place. So long as you finish it, you are always going to get the same amount of XP as whoever is in first place. Which is a really nice touch, because you can be competitive in this game if you want to race your friends, but you don't have to be. You can literally do things at your own pace and get the same reward. Some players may not like that because it makes it seem like earning first place is useless, but sometimes it's not about the reward, sometimes it's about the novelty, and that's exactly what earning first place in Death Run is. You could also challenge yourself and aim to beat certain times and certain maps if you'd like. The objective of this game is very simple. Go from point A to point B with the death trying to kill you along the way. The great thing about this game though is that it's super imaginative, in the sense where you can choose your own objective from there. As I said, you can speedrun if you'd like, race your friends, think of these amazing shortcuts. There's a lot to do here for just such a simple game. You're merely running on a course and you can turn it into many things. Death Run is great if you're oftentimes in a situation where you have to go to school in 5 minutes or get ready for work in 20. The point is, it's very easy to manage your time in this game. And I would say my only gripe in this entire game is that sometimes the gameplay is a little bit repetitive. Obviously you can be death, but I would say running is a heck of a lot more fun than being a death. Usually when I'm a death, I either do absolutely nothing, or I just queue to the next game so I can be a runner again. Remember when I said that Hive needed casual games? Well, is it that much of a sin to say that Block Party is my favorite of those casual games? There's just something about it. Its presentation feels so lively compared to other games. There's a lot of uses of custom assets in this lobby and on the floor as well. There's something magical about playing this game with your group of friends. Just laughing as you're all dying, seeing who will win, seeing the first one to lose, just having a heck of a great time with everybody that you know. It's super fun playing with my girlfriend and niece in these kind of games. I love being able to just grab these power-ups and make it to these colors with the skin of my teeth. There's just something very happy and joyful about this game. That's what Block Party is about. It's bright, expressive, fun, and it's not meant to be taken super seriously. Sure, you could race for power-ups and you could try to beat people, but I think the idea of the game is just bringing some people that you enjoy having around and just having a good time on this game. I gave number 2 to SKYWARS. It was either going to be that or Treasure Wars. I'm sure you knew that the moment you clicked on this video, but that's okay nevertheless. What do I love about SKYWARS? Well, firstly, think about survival games. What do? You loot chests, and there's a lot of luck involved. SKYWARS follows that same formula, but in a much more exotic and ambitious kind of way. Put some ores in there, some spells, a mystery chest, or just becoming an unstoppable enchanted warrior full of diamond armor with protection this, fire protection that, with the knockback Nemo in your inventory. SKYWARS is about conquering, and honestly, that's an amazing way to go about a PvP game. Reaching middle, dominating everybody left and right in this very fast-paced game, and just becoming a god for 5 minutes as you destroy everybody left and right. You wonder why so many sweats inhabit this game? Well, there's your answer. It's because that conquering feeling inside of you is incredibly addictive. I understand that some new players might not like this game as much because so many of the more intense players inhabit this game. Honestly, that doesn't matter. You'll have fun too. At some point, you'll find a player that's worse than you, and you'll begin to feel that same conquering feeling too. You'll get lucky. I promise you that. I would say my only complaint about this game, it is a little bit formulaic, because you do have to go to the middle to get the best stuff, which does encourage you to stop base camping, which is well and good, but you know the best of the best players will always rush to middle in a race with each other, which is fun in its own right, but every game's played the same way, so that might be a minor drawback. But other than that, near perfect game, and it's a lot of fun waiting for you right here. This is SKYWARS. Treasure Wars is my number 1 game. Shocker, right? Have I explained why? Oh yeah, many times on this channel, but I'll do it again for the sake of this video. Why is Treasure Wars better than SKYWARS in my opinion? It's a matter of preference. They're both really good games, but I prefer the more strategic-based sort of PvP in Treasure Wars to SKYWARS' more ambitious and randomized PvP. What I enjoy about this is that when I get 5 gold at the start of the game, right from the onset I get to make a choice. 32 blocks or a sword. Do I want to play a sort of offensive defensive with a sword? Do I want to use blocks to get around? Or maybe I just want to use blocks to cover up the treasure? I have a lot of choices here. And with those choices, you can make a game that appeals to a lot of players because most of the playstyles in this game are completely valid. You can play defensive if you want to protect the treasure, or you can play offensive if you want to smack other people's treasures. That is entirely your choice, and you need defense just as much as you need offense. As long as you're not fully defending, that is. But that's not the point. The point is here, there's a lot of freedom in this. Even though it's more formulaic, technically speaking, because you have to get gold at the start of the game, you have to use item shop commonly, that's okay. Because other than that, choices are all around you. You can decide to go for green, you can decide to go for purple, you can decide to go for gray, you can do whatever you want. This game is both really fun solo and really fun with friends. You can enjoy it always. The only game mode of this that I don't really like is Mega. And that's because Mega's XP sucks. But so long as you're willing to learn about this game and put in the time and understand the item shop and give things a good thought before you just go around doing things on a whim, you're gonna enjoy this game. And yes, it is infested with sweats and that can be frustrating at times, but you're gonna come back one day. I know you will. Because I've done it. I've come back to this game over 6,000 times and I'm sure 7,000 is right around the corner. We finally made it to the end, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for watching, and I definitely hope that you guys enjoyed that video. While the uploading and downloading process of the footage itself wasn't fun, making it and talking about my opinions certainly was. If you guys want to see more content that pertains to the Hive, please let me know in the comments. But on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care for now. Goodbye.